Bonjour encore, je m'appelle Claire.
Et je m'appelle Brittany.
Cette vidéo est sur l'électricité et le transport.
Nous souhaitons que la vidéo vous plaît.
Visible in the picture, the typical French car size is much smaller than the sedan-sized cars that are frequently driven in America. France has a per capita of 497 cars for every 1,000 people, while America's per capita is 450 cars for every 1,000 people. Even though France has more cars, we use almost twice as much gas and spend over 200 times the money on gas. This occurs because the French tend to use petrol fuel, whereas Americans use gasoline for cars. Fuel in France costs as little as 15 cents per liter, and America has an average gas price of $2.78 per gallon. While a gallon is bigger than a liter, the French still only spend 16% of what we do on the same amount of liquid. America is more expensive because gasoline is obtained by cracking petrol, so France uses a purer version of the oil.
In France, road systems vary quite a bit from their American counterparts. The first difference is the small parking spaces. Due to the limited amount of space on the roads that were first constructed hundreds of years ago, cars, and consequently parking spaces, must be smaller. In Tours, almost everywhere has parallel parking spaces. These spaces are small and tightly packed. Culturally, it is not a big deal if someone taps your car when entering or leaving a parking space. In the United States, most people, myself included, would be appalled and very angry if someone dented my parked car. Another interesting difference is the frequent use of roundabouts in France. A French driver told me that they are not any more dangerous than normal straight roads because people here are used to them and know how to operate a traffic circle correctly. At home, roundabouts cause many more accidents and are a big hassle for everyone on the road. The final road system that is different in France compared to the United States are the stoplights. Instead of large, heavy streetlights hanging overhead, French traffic lights are attached to a pole on the corner of the street. Interestingly, the lights are placed on the side of the street closest to the cars instead of on the opposite corner. This was a very weird thing that took a while to get used to when crossing the streets here in Tours.
Public transportation is used in many different ways in France. There is the popular train system, the minibuses that run solely on electricity, and the tram that runs from the north to the south in Tours. The electric minibuses are a perfect example of how the city is moving forward with technology and conservation attempts, and the tram tickets are very cheap because you can ride all the way from one end of Tours to the other and back for only a few euros. There is also a traditional bus system in Tours that works like most American cities.
Government regulations on cars and emissions in France have been changing in the recent years. Previously, approximately 80% of cars relied on diesel fuel because of a push from the European Union. In 2014, the French government passed several regulations about vehicles and fuels, including a 2-cent tax increase on diesel fuel, tax refunds of up to 10,000 euros for people who trade in their diesel cars for electric ones, and even a brief limitation on whom could drive in Paris each day based on a license plate number in an effort to reduce pollution in France. This last measure did not persist very long due to public outrage. According to my professor of business at the Institute, bigger cars are subject to large taxes by the French government. For example, someone driving a Jeep pays 6,000 euros extra in taxes each year. This is very different from American cars and taxes because we only have registration taxes based on the value of the car, not the efficiency or emissions. Overall, we believe that there are two reasons for these differences. One is the cultural and societal views on transportation and conservation, while the other is the historically small roads and spaces. These old structures and roads cannot and should not be easily torn down, so the French must make do with what they have. While we believe most of the differences are positive because they are better for the environment, some of the more culturally based ones, such as the placement of streetlights, are neutral. Neither is better than the other, they are just different. The differences, although beneficial to the environment, would not translate well to the United States because of the larger size and spread outness of the USA compared to France.